Okay.
I'll officially call this meeting of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to order for Tuesday, March 29th. Please join us. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Kirschner will lead us with the prayer.
Okay, please join me in a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for another sunshiny day. We thank you for the springtime. We ask that you bless all those present and help us make the decisions that are correct for those citizens of Seneca County. We ask this in your name, through your risen Son. Amen.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Zoller?
Here.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Of the signing of the journal, and I'll accept a motion to approve the DVD recording from our previous session of Tuesday, March 22nd, and the index of that meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve it as outlined.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved, thanks. Any adjustments to the printed agenda? Anybody has?
Airport.
Airport, okay. And a new or old?
Old.
Old, okay.
I'd like to add mileage reimbursement, and I don't know if that's new or old. I guess it's kind of ongoing.
We'll put it new.
And just have a brief discussion about the Batch Helper Group.
Anything, Fred?
Nope, you guys have covered what I wanted.
All right. There. All right, well, let's start with the airport, so we don't get the added back in there.
Greg, do you want to update that?
Pardon?
Airport, we
You want
had,
me to- I'll
Give an
give
update
kind of an
on
update there. Okay, as everyone knows, we got a grant from the FAA to tear down a property that falls within the safe operation of the airport. And basically what it is, it's the trees in the backyard that were obstructing, were in the right-of-way for the landing strip. Okay, so we filed a grant, filed for, I guess it's a grant, isn't it? Okay. And we received money to purchase the house. Again, my feeling is I think it was wrong all the way through. We should have purchased the house, put a deed restriction on it, and sold the house back to whoever, but that didn't happen that way. So part of the agreement was that we paid for the house back in September, and the house had to be vacated by March 31st. And again, part of the agreement was the owner could sell the stuff out of the house, the cabinets, the plumbing, could sell any parcel of the house. Did not specifically say if she could sell the house or not, but the long and short of it is I was approached by an individual that wanted to buy the house in its entirety and move it. And long and short of it is they had to make a decision because the sale was last Saturday or whatever it was, and this was Saturday morning. Well, they talked to me a couple days before that, so we got an opinion from the prosecutor, and while he didn't see any problem with it, certainly was not his suggestion. And from my perspective, I think it makes the most sense for the taxpayers. Isn't going to cost us any money. The individual's going to buy the house. We have to go to the prosecutor and get the where the house had to be vacated by March 31st. I would like them to get a 90-day extension that they can move the house. The new owner of the house has agreed that he would fill the basement back in and have it ready, that all we have to do is just seed it. Where in the past, we would have had to we had a grant for $30,000 to tear the house down now. Well, even though it's still taxpayers' money, it's coming out of the general revenue, it was FAA money, but I don't care, government money is taxpayers' money, the way I look at it. So we have saved the taxpayers $30,000 by allowing someone else to buy the house. They have to move it at their expense, they have to fill the basement in, and just have it ready for us to seed. I think it made the most sense. Unfortunately, I didn't have an opportunity to consult with my fellow commissioners, and the sale was within 2 hours. He said, "Fred, what can I do?" And I said, "Buy the house if you can." And the revenue or that was generated to buy the house, according to the agreement, went to the owner on that. So my question to my fellow commissioners is we need to instruct the prosecutor to give the new owner of the house 90 days to get the house moved. And again, there is no cost to the county. I look at it, we've not only saved the taxpayers $30,000, but we now have the real estate tax on a house that's gonna be at a different location, but it's still gonna be in Seneca County, versus vacated, and we just lost the tax altogether. So I think it was win-win, and from our standpoint, I consulted with the operator of the airport, Brad Newman. He said he didn't see a problem with it, like to have it moved within a reasonable length of time. Talking with the new owner of the house, he thought 90 days was sufficient, and so all we need to do is just get the prosecutor to give us a 90-day extension. I don't know how that's gonna affect the grant and so forth. The sum total of the whole thing is the house will be moved. We'll now be in compliant with whatever the grant's done. It's just we're gonna take 90 days longer to do it.
The 90 days isn't impacting airport operations with
No,
anything,
no.
meeting his deadlines of things.
No, that's why I consulted with Brad, and he didn't see any problem with it. Prosecutor didn't see any problem with it. It's a little out of the norm, but this is where I think government needs to work for the people here. In this case, again, we saved $30,000 of taxpayers' money, not necessarily Seneca County, but taxpayers' money, and we still have a property that we can collect real estate taxes on versus tearing it down and losing everything. In the future, I think this thing was, of course, this was handled way before Holly, you and I got on the board. What I would like to see done in the future, but if there is a house that runs within the restricted area of the FAA, like in this case, it was the trees in the backyard, not even a house, it was the trees. Why can't we purchase the house, put a deed restriction on it that can no longer have trees in the backyard, and then sell the house back to whoever? I think that is the best utilization of taxpayers' money.
I
So-
think the 20-year master plan, that was the last house, so
Well,
hopefully.
let's
We
hope.
don't have to worry about it again.
FAA continues to change regulations,
True,
and
true.
I understand that, and we would have to put a deed restriction. I don't know the legalities of it, but a deed restriction that whoever owned the house would have to always abide by whatever the FAA regulations are there. It just, hopefully this is it, don't do any more. But if it does happen again, and of course I will certainly be off the board at that time, but I hope that we would take a little better look at how we do things, because I just think this is a senseless. You've got a beautiful house, we've torn 2 down so far. And this one, it was the trees in the backyard was the only problem. Senseless, just senseless. Hopefully my fellow commissioners, I had to make a decision right on the spur of the moment there, and because this auction was in 2 hours. The guy needed direction.
Okay, so, and we,
I'm writing this down.
and we have, if the FAA, there's no problem with the grant or with anything because of this. I mean, we're not gonna lose any money, or they're not gonna take it away.
According to Brad, as long as we just do, basically we do an extension or an amendment to the current contract with Mrs. Tice.
Okay, so I would move that the amendment be made to the current contract to allow the purchase and the moving of the house.
Which allowed the sale of the home
Which would, yeah, obviously, yeah, allow.
by the owner. not
Yeah,
by-
but she was allowed to do whatever,
Yeah,
with the current contract, she could do what she wanted with the house.
Whatever language we have to come up with to comply with the FAA's grant.
Okay. We'll get the language put in place, and then we can pass the resolution on it, if that's okay. we'll just hold off on the motion.
We're gonna hold-
As long
okay.
as
You wanna
it's
wait?
okay with you,
Okay.
we'll let Derek
Yeah, that's
So
process.
that way you'll have it, like I said, it's not gonna change the outcome at this point.
No, as
Just
long
so
as
we'll
we
have
get
it.
it okay from you guys, right, you know.
Yeah,
We'll get the language put
In
together.
90 days, we won't even know this happened.
And we'll do it from the first. Is that okay? Do it from the first?
April 1st.
Yeah.
Because that was their day they needed to be out
Yeah,
initially anyway, so.
yeah, because the date's gotta be in there. Change the
The
dates.
odds are, we wouldn't have had the house tore down by April 1st. She
No, she just had to
No, she
vacate.
had
it
to
and
vacate
we
She'd
the
be
would
out.
have-
right.
Then she has 60 days after that to sell everything or get out to, have everything removed, right?
No, she had to be moved
She
and
had
done
everything
by
out
the
of there
first.
By the first, okay.
But then at that point that we would have to contract, we had
Yes.
a $30,000 grant that was coming from the FAA that we don't need anymore. So we, some total saved taxpayers money now.
Okay.
We all pay a portion of that.
We'll have that ready for Thursday.
Okay. All right, Bad Shelter Group was another addition to the old business.
Yeah, I just wanted to come up with some dates. You know, they've got some plans, they've got a strategic plan that they want to discuss regarding our communication with some folks. So I wanted to see if there was one day next week, or maybe a couple of days, when we could get on the phone with them. I need a couple of dates because I have to also get Aaron, Tiffin's mayor, involved. So,
Mike, we could do this over the phone or we?
yeah, the initial meeting will be over the phone, and then I've got some dates that we need to talk about going to Columbus. So, how is the 5th and the 6th next week for you two? Any morning, afternoon? Obviously, we have a meeting on the 5th.
Why don't we try to do in the morning, 9 o'clock?
Do we have work session by chance?
Not on the 5th, that's on the 12th.
So, 9 AM on the 5th, would that work for you?
There's Budget Commission, I mean, unless, if anybody needed to be at that, but otherwise,
What time is that typically?
that's at
9
9.
o'clock,
At 9?
9:30? Or you want to do it at 11, after commissioners meeting?
Yeah, let's try for 9:30. Budget Commission shouldn't last. 9:30, and then how about Wednesday? Is there any? I need a couple
Okay.
of dates.
Um,
Wednesday at 9.
Are you in, it says that you're in Union County on Wednesday at 9:30.
The 6th?
Uh-huh,
Okay. All right, well, that won't work.
so that won't work.
We have Family and Children First on the 7th, 8:30 to 10:30. How about 11 o'clock on the 7th? Does that work for everyone?
That works.
Hang on a second, I'm trying to get this in. Can't type that fast. Okay, so what are we talking, the 7th?
The 7th at 11 or the 5th?
I will not be in town,
Okay.
and I won't be on the 6th. I think I'm mixing some dates.
When are you back?
11th, I'm open.
Okay, well, that's when, we had hoped to maybe make a trip to Columbus on the 11th or the 12th.
Yeah, well, that's what we're talking about now, aren't we?
No, we're talking about doing the phone conference and setting up,
I thought that was on the 5th.
setting up the visit.
He wants 2 dates so that he
Oh,
can
2
go to
dates.
Aaron. Yeah.
One a phone conference, one a meeting in
And
Columbus.
then, for me, it would be the 4th or 5th, because I'm leaving the 6th.
Okay, the 4th work okay for you, anytime?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go for 9 AM, 9 AM on the 4th or 9:30 on the 5th and see if I can get Aaron to agree to those.
Okay.
And then move into that next week, the 11th or the 12th. The 12th obviously is a meeting date for us, so that would be the afternoon. Does the 11th or 12th work for you to go to Columbus?
Like I said, the 12th would have to be afternoon.
Yeah, either of those days works for me.
We've got some things that are on hold for the 11th is way better than
Okay.
12th, but
So that's the.
11th is, yeah, 11th or 12th is good.
All right, I don't have that confirmed with them yet, but I want to get a few dates from you guys, just so I
Yeah.
knew what I could work with. Okay.
Just let us know as soon as you confirm those dates.
I will.
next under old business, the Joint Justice Center resolution.
Yes, we talked at the last leadership team meeting that we needed to approve the design stage estimate and program of requirements documents. The documents that they showed up on the screen for us. And then they sent us the estimate yesterday. And they wanted to know if we could, I mean, we can wait till Thursday if you haven't had a chance to review them yet. Cause I know we just got them yesterday.
Yeah.
But we can wait till Thursday to give you a chance to review it. But basically, what they sent us was the presentation again, and then the cost estimate for the project.
Yeah, let's wait till Thursday. I haven't had some discussion with them if
Okay.
I could.
We can do that, because I don't think the city's gonna do theirs until Monday.
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 Yeah.
So, so we can, if you wanna review those, and we can do that on Thursday.
That'd be great.
Yep, that works. All right, is that revolving loan fund?
Well, we are, Crystal Traditions has sold. That was the last loan we have in the revolving loan fund. Obviously, we have one pending, but that was the last one. The payoff balance, they wanted to close it today. It was a cash closing. So Nikki gave me a payoff yesterday of $34,599. $35,599. And we also calculated a per diem interest figure, which was somewhere just south of $1 a day on interest accrual. So they're going to write a check for $35,800 just to make certain that things are covered with the state. I just wanted to let everybody know that. They needed a number for today's closing. They probably will overpay us by 100 or something. We can refund that at some later date, but I wanted to make sure we had enough as opposed to having gone back to them for more later. So that closing was to take place at Susan Jones' office sometime today. Just so you guys all know what's going on with that. That money will then go back into the revolving loan fund to be lent out again.
I'm pleased to see that we have a recent application for that. It's the old adage, if you don't use it, you lose it. And I think that both my fellow commissioners know that we've sent a packet out to all the lending institutions in town, making them aware that the county is actively looking at coordinating efforts with the local institutions and this revolving loan fund to help fill the gap and create more of a environment for growth in this area. So the city's had it, Fostoria's got it, and the county's had it, but it really has not been very active, and so we're trying to solicit those institutions that, what it amounts to is the people that, the individuals that come to them, or companies that don't quite fit completely within the criteria of what their lending exposure is, so we can fill the gap there. All good, all good.
Board of Elections.
Well, I just want to make sure that we're clear here. We've had all kinds of conversations about, we know that they need a new space, and we've talked a long time about the low-price space. Understand there's some pushback about that, but and there was some conversation about maybe wanting to move into the Fifth Third location. But the fact is that we have got specs put together for Fifth Third for the prosecutor and victims assistance people to go down there. And those specs are getting ready to go out for bid. I sure don't want to negate that work.
Right.
So I just want to make sure that everybody feels the same. Well, you don't have to feel the same as I do, but
We know how you
to
feel.
tell you how I feel about it, and that is that we've got the specs put together, we're ready to put a bid package together for the Fifth Third, to have the prosecutor and victims assistance move down there. I think that we're too far into the process to do a reverse on that thing and try to turn it into something else. So I'd like to make certain that everybody agrees that we move forward with that, and have the Board of Elections come to us with a site that they feel is reasonable. We're certainly willing to put them in a site that is handicapped accessible and has enough room.
Yeah,
I just don't think Fifth Third is it at this point. That's just not an option.
right. I agree, because we've already spent the time to get a layout for that done, what would work for the prosecutor and for victims assistance, and are preparing the bid specs, so we've, invested a little bit of money getting us this far with it. And we obviously made that decision because it was needed, for their operation, so I think we let that continue. And, yeah, the board of elections, I was thinking that they were to come back with us anyway with what you're saying, with, okay, we know how much square footage they've got, how much do they need, and what does that need to look like? We need so much for public space, so much for storage, so much for operations, whether they need individual offices or a conference room or whatever it might be. But then, except whether we can then ask somebody to look at Hope Roy, if that's what they wanna do. We can at least tell them the square footage and their square footage together, and somebody can tell us what that might look like laid out, if that's possible. And/or if they have identified another space somewhere. I mean, I'm understanding it's our obligation to make sure we provide them space, and obviously we're gonna have to pay for that space, by putting money in their budget and it coming back to us, or whatever way it is, but we are obligated to make sure they have operating space, and we've been wanting and trying to address this for a long time. Really hoping that the Hope Roy solution was a solution. Maybe it's not, but I'm thinking it's in their court to give us a square foot minimum. They can have a maximum to that too, or I guess a wish list, but they ought to give us the minimum they have to have, and we'll try to address those needs, but we need to see that.
I think that's exactly the point. The point is that this board is willing to supply adequate space to the Board of Elections. But we don't know where that adequate space might be. We have said that we will get Hope Roy's vacated and they can use that space if they feel that that's not adequate. I understand, that's what they feel. But if not, then they need to come to us with a proposal as far as space goes. I don't think it's our job to go out and put a hunt on. If they don't feel that that site is appropriate, then let's have a suggestion made and we'll look at that. I mean, I think it has to be reasonable rent, and I think it has to be reasonable cost to prepare it, but we're willing to look at anything. We just don't have anything to look at. So as you say, all I believe is in their court.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, if you go back here 2 years ago, they came to us and we've asked them to come back with us with a proposal. Holly, you've done a lot of work on looking at facility out the JFS. I personally would like to keep it downtown, but it really comes to cost. And I had a lengthy conversation with 2 of the board members yesterday, and they've intimated to me that the prosecutor really is not crazy about the Fifth Third building. Personally,
That's a different story than what I heard
Well,
yesterday.
okay, that's what
I
I-
talked to him directly yesterday and asked him about the place, and I said, you have no doubt you're still planning on this being where you're going, and that's what our plans are, and he goes, yes.
okay, well, that answers the question then, okay. I'm just saying that's what they told me, and I said, well, I have to confer with our prosecutor, because I personally think it makes the most sense. It's all in the same building. If he would, and also, I think, from the Board of Elections standpoint, if we expand into Hope Roy's, it's all contiguous of where there are, it makes the most sense. Now, if they don't like that, Holly, you've made available to them, there's some facility out to JFS. Long and short of it is, I went to them, I said, guys, the ball's in your court. It is not our job. Don't expect us to design. We have to make something available to you. And there's 2 parcels that we're making available to you. And I went to them, I said, you have to come to us with a cost. Go ahead and design something, come with us a cost and say, this is how much it's gonna be. We'll decide, if we can afford this or we can afford the other. It's pretty simple. Now, again, what they intimated to me is the prosecutor wasn't overly crazy about the Fifth Third building. I said, okay, then get a cost on the Fifth Third and the Hope Roy's property, and then bring it to us, which one. But now what you're telling me, Commissioner Stacy, is that may not be factual. The prosecutor is,
Yeah, I called
likes where he's at.
I called him to line him up for a meeting that we've got later this week for something else, and I said, by the way, we're moving forward, I think they're getting close to putting specs to bid for your space. There's no hesitation on your part, you're planning on utilizing that space at Fifth Third, and he says yes. And I said, okay, well, that's what we've done, that's why we've taken the steps we have, is to make sure that your space, I'm hearing that others thought maybe that you didn't want it or something, and I said, so we're gonna stay on that path, as far as I know. we'll discuss it tomorrow. And so they have to, and again, and I think we're open to, and we're not closed-minded about it, as Mike was saying. If they see another space somewhere, we're just trying to see what makes the most sense within our rooftops, within space the county already owns, because obviously that saves us
Makes
money.
sense, yeah.
Is to have them utilize, the space in the county services building that they're in, with a renovation, as you said, a reasonable reservation needed of their current and that additional space to make it one flowing office, if that can happen. The space out at Jobs and Family Services probably is not gonna be adequate now, because part of that was making that square footage allowable. It was a section for their machine storage, and that space is now being used. At the time, they weren't, Jobs and Family were paying for that in their lease, but they were not utilizing that space and were willing to let it go out of their lease, but they're now occupying that space. So I'm guessing that won't have enough square footage for them out there.
The other thing-
And they want their machines with them, and I get that, when it gets to programming time, they need to have access.
So what I will instruct them is based on this, because yesterday I said, get us a price on Fifth Third, get us a price on Hope Roy's, bring it to this commission, and we'll make a decision as to what we do. But now, realizing that the prosecutor wants that, then basically my statement to them is, get us a price on Hope Roy's or any other facility you guys want. We'll make the final decision as to all that we, as of right now, because we own that property, the Hope Roy's property, that makes the most sense. But if they decide they want something else, come with us with a proposal.
Well, the
The ball's in their court, as I see it.
prosecutor's office is location sensitive. I mean, we want them next to the courthouse or as close to the courthouse as we can.
Yeah.
The Board of Elections is not necessarily location sensitive as it relates to the courthouse, certainly.
Right.
I'd be completely supportive of that. So I'm just gonna resend a little bit what I told them yesterday, instead of getting a bid on the prosecutor, the Fifth Third, and the Hope Roy's. Now, it's Hope Roy's or whatever you guys want, and Fifth Third's not an option. We've got that spoken for. Would that be a correct statement? Yeah, I'm fine. I think that makes the most sense, Hope Roy's. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And if they need some assistance in figuring out who to have come in and take a look at it, we can, look at something for them and point them in the right direction.
Yeah, but what I don't do, I don't wanna design it for them. I don't wanna do the work, because I don't know what they need.
No,
They
they've
gotta
gotta have
tell
say
us
in
that.
it, they've gotta say in it, but if they don't, know who to turn to or have the time to get somebody moving on it, we can possibly do that, or help point them in the right direction, I don't. So, all right,
Jim Erman did email me and asked just to make sure the time frame on Hope Rise. We're not doing any extension with her, it's still as
right,
As
as the amendment we
decided.
did.
Okay, he sent me
Which
an
was
email and asked.
the only amendment we made was to freeze the cost of a rent for this last year.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, to be clear, she's supposed to vacate by 12/31. Is that clear?
if that's what the
That's what the
amendment
lease says. Now,
Yeah.
I think we
That's what the lease
have to
says.
be cognizant of the business she's in, and she's in very Christmas-oriented stuff. And I think for us to ask her to vacate right at the end of Christmas, I think we're asking a little too much. I would like to extend to her a 90-day window so she could liquidate her stock after the Christmas season.
I'm not in favor of that at all.
I'm not
That's
either.
all right, but I mean, I just think all we do is just string this thing
I
out.
just think we keep stringing it out, that's my concern too,
Okay.
is because, when we did the thing, I said, well, that says the 31st, I said, we're not changing that, we're changing the cost of the monthly rent, but,
I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy if we say 90 days after the first time that we did it, because, if, it might be an ideal time at Christmas for her to do a liquidation, because many of those items are Christmas items. So, if she starts doing that in November or whatever date is chosen, if not, then we don't start liquidation until after January, and then we've got a situation again.
and I'm not sure she's liquidating, maybe she's gonna go to a new location, we don't know what she's doing. If she's moving to a new location, she's probably gonna take stuff with her.
The problem being here is, and this is where the Board of Elections, we asked them last year to give us a cost. They may come back with such a cost to renovate the Hope Roy's that it doesn't make sense. We're better off to rent space somewhere elsewhere. I mean, I don't know that as fact, but here we're gonna vacate somebody and we don't know really if we got somebody that's gonna move in there. I mean,
Well, I think the fact is.
they drug their feet, they gotta get something done here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that, unless I'm thinking incorrectly, I think that might be the only private business that is using a county building.
yes,
And we're really not in the business to be landlords.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't wanna see a vacant building there.
We've got
if-
plenty of
If we
use.
find out that
Yeah.
the Board of Election isn't gonna go there.
Well,
I-
if we, if that isn't used as a board of elections, we certainly have a lot of people that need different space, that we could utilize that property.
Yeah.
For county purposes,
Yeah,
especially the close proximity to the courthouse.
yeah. All right. Done with that one?
I'm done.
All good conversation here, I mean, there's,
Yeah. All right, Seneca County Annual Legislative, this is the Farm Bureau, Annual Legislative Breakfast. It is this coming Friday, April 1st, no fooling. And it is in Woodville this year because obviously our organizational director for Farm Bureau has multiple counties. And the past couple of years it has been in Seneca County here for us, but this year it is not. It's in Woodville, it's this Friday. They called Nicole yesterday. I wanted to know if anybody, they know I'm coming because I told them when I first saw the notice I was going, but
Yeah,
they wanted to know if either of you wanted to go.
I responded.
All right.
That I was coming.
That you're coming? Okay.
Yeah, 109 Portage Street,
Okay. I'll
Woodville,
make
Ohio.
sure she has your,
And she
Mike,
must-
you've got a Erie Basin meeting on.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Okay, all right, just wanna make sure you knew.
Okay. All right. There you go.
I'll call them to see if it's absolutely necessary that I be there. If it is, then I'll go to that instead, but.
No further old business. We'll move on to new business. Bill vouchers.
Do you wanna talk about,
the mileage.
Oh, the mileage, yeah, let's do the mileage reimbursement. Yeah.
I know that there are different schools of thought here. We're trying to encourage all the county employees to use the county cars. I get that. And hopefully they continue to do that. But we haven't changed the mileage rates since 2006, according to what I saw. And I think it's a matter of fairness. Both the state and the federal rate are 54 cents. We're now paying 33 cents. I would move that we move our reimbursement rate on mileage to state of Ohio rate at 54% for 2016.
if we change the language, can we just change it to whatever the state is?
Yeah, I think that's
And leave
probably,
the 54 cents off, cause if they move it again,
yeah, because
We
it
just-
actually moved down.
She
It
said
actually
it float
moved-
with the state rate.
It actually moved down. The state is exactly the federal, by the way. I
Okay.
did look it up. Last year, 57.5 cents, 2015, they moved it down to 54 cents for 2016. So, yeah, if we can just review it in January and comply with whatever the state, federal rates are.
Yeah. I mean, we
Does that
can-
work,
we
or
can
can
put
it
as
just,
amendment
be floating?
that it would
Can
just
it
it-
can be
float.
floating.
The policy will just say that the reimbursement rate will be whatever the current state rate
Yeah.
is.
I think
And
that's-
the state
Yeah, we
only
have to-
evaluates it once a year,
Yes.
or do they do it in mid-year?
I'm not sure what. the
Because I can
state
see
is.
that would be a little confusing for the
According to their
auditors.
site,
Yeah.
according to their site, for 2016, it's 54 cents.
Okay.
And like Mike said, just the history, the why we kept it at the 33 cents, what it is now, is to encourage, it's the year we bought all the brand new cars. We were trying to encourage, for accident purposes, for different, liability purposes, we were trying to encourage the employees to use our vehicles. So we decided to leave the rate relatively low. And, so
Okay.
that's just the history
That was
for
the history
you.
of it,
That was
yeah.
the thought process back then.
I mean,
when we said it.
we're, from this board, we're encouraging people to use a car whenever it's available, a county car. However, there are those times when it might not be, and as a matter of fairness, we gotta reimburse them at the current rate.
I would agree.
All right,
All right, we'll get the language put together for Thursday.
That'd be
okay.
That's okay. The only other thing before we get to bill vouchers, Mike and I were discussing potentially putting some additional funding into the Joint Justice Center. Pulled the revenue report, and Tanya sent us a notice for the cert out the other day. We're at a little over 2.8 for the available to appropriate, and our revenue is we're above revenue right now, so,
We have $1,450,000 in that fund.
yes, which we've spent some because of the contracts we have
Right.
in place, but that's what we,
That was a gross amount.
Yep.
So I would move that we move 550,000 to make it even 2 million in the courthouse / joint justice center account.
I could agree with that.
Is that a second?
Yeah, second.
So if not, I will, okay. We got a motion and a second, and I agree with that as well, that we will have, that puts us at an even 2 millions that we have set aside for our portion. That's great. All right, any further comments? If not, let's call the roll on that one.
Commissioner Kirchner,
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller,
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy.
Yes. Motion passes. Right.
Mike, when are we ready to do the bonding?
We are, we have, Stacy is continuing to call. So I'm kind of worried about those dates in April about that chowder because we're also trying to come up with a date to talk to the bonding agents in New York. But we are very, very close. You know, we know the number that we're gonna ask for, and it'll be sometime before the 4th week of April, probably the 3rd week, but we'll see.
That's some real cheap fares to New York right now, $109. Round trip.
All right, go ahead and buy those, and
That's where I'm going the week after next week.
okay. We can fly into Trenton, that's just a beautiful airport.
hopefully I'll have more of an update on that Thursday.
Yes, we'll have an update on that Thursday, Commissioner Doyle. I will give you more specifics, I hope.
Okay.
I don't need to go.
So. All right,
Okay.
bill vouchers.
And bill vouchers batch number 14086 and 14052. I have a resolution authorizing an agreement with Stantec Consulting Services for the engineering fees associated, and this is resolution we don't need. Tanya prepared today to do the engineering fees associated with the demolition, so I'm gonna pull that one back. I'm gonna pull that one out if
Yeah.
we're moving forward with the extension. I'll pull that. Let's see. This one is a resolution authorizing an agreement with Stantec Consulting Services for engineering fees associated with pavement rehabilitation of taxiway A and B, apron B and D on behalf of the Seneca County Airport. Resolution authorizing an amendment agreement with TFC Architects for the CSB elevator modernization project located at the County Services Building.
Is that done?
It is just about done. I think we just have to get it inspected.
Very uplifting.
In budget?
Yes. I have a resolution approving the recommendations, the Tax Incentive Review Council's findings regarding enterprise zone and community reinvestment area tax abatements for companies located in Seneca County for tax year 2015. Looks like the only one on here is the VH1 properties. A resolution setting time, date, and place to receive sealed bids for the ADA Township Road 138-7.20. He's got ADA. Superstructure replacement pre-stressed box beams. The date is set for Tuesday, April 19th at 10:30 a.m. here at the Commissioner's office.
What building is that?
It's a bridge,
Oh, a bridge.
but it says ADA, so that's why I was a little confused. On Township Road 138. It's got ADA in there. It probably means something else in
Doesn't mean
engineered
probably- yeah,
terms.
Yeah, it's probably not what we're thinking.
Resolution setting time, date to accept sealed bids for the lease of the farmland situated on section 25 of Hopewell Township, Seneca County. We are setting that for August 2nd at 11 a.m. Here at the Commissioner's office, and Nikki's just in a hurry for this one.
I just wanna make sure to get it out, that way, if they can go look at it, they can go look at it.
And the term will start as of January 1st, 2017. And this is for 5 consecutive years. It's the 7.51 acres out by the airport. And the other one, I have resolution setting time date to accept sealed bids for the leased farmland situated in the township of Eden. This will be again on August 2nd, Tuesday, August 2nd at 11 a.m. This is for the 147.1 acres, and this is out to south of town, out by the sheriff's office. And that's all I have.
Well, we did receive, just a bit of an interjection here, we did receive a check for lumber from Brad on some land out at the airport that was, how much?
Was that 8,000?
8,000?
8,000?
And they'd hoped to be able to convert that to farmland and so we could lease it, but since that time, we found out there are a number of wet areas, whatever,
It wouldn't make
protected,
any sense.
protected areas, so we're just gonna leave that as nature left it, rather than try to generate any farm ground out of it.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion on the resolutions as presented?
Make a motion, we approve resolutions as we outlined.
Second.
Second, any comments or concerns, questions? Any? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Pershing?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes, all approved, thank you. Opportunity now for citizens' comments. At this time, do we have any comments, questions? Seeing none? Okay.
Amen, sister.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is amen, sister, is that kind of the same thing?
Yeah, I guess so.
I'd be glad to leave, I'm done, yeah.
You want to second the adjournment?
I will second
All right, we have a
that.
motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. It's 10:42.